This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, friends. In this Business Intelligence Master Program, in this session, we are going to see how to identify basically what it's a basically incrementally copy new and changed files without last process value. If you remember, we have a 25th session. In that session, we have discussed about copy incremental and changed files from the blob storage to the blob storage by using last modified date. So last modified date, or you can call it as a last processed value. This last processed value means till what date we have already copied into our destination, our target from our source. So that particular date we are keeping in a some metadata table. From the metadata table we are identifying till what date we have already copied. So from that particular day later, whatever files came, those files we are picking and loading into the target. That's what we are doing. But there we have some clue. Last processed value we have. But let's say I don't have anything. I have a folder. In that folder, I have 100 files as of now, and I uploaded 101 file. Now I won't give you anything. From activities, you need to identify what is the file which is arrived latest. Okay, what is the latest file which is arrived into that particular folder. Okay, so this is also one of the very important scenario, because in interview people will ask, I have a folder. In folder daily new files are coming. Okay, let's say only one file is coming. Okay, daily one file is adding to the folder. Now what you want to do, I don't have any clue, but you need to identify what is the file which is loaded recently. Even I am not going to give you what is the file, what is the file structure, whether file is having date or something. I won't give you any clue. Okay, simply some file will come randomly with some random name. You need to identify what is the file which is arrived into the blob storage. Okay, that is what we are going to see, how we can achieve that. Okay, in today's session we will talk about scenarios, data flow diagram, estimations, prerequisite and required resources. We know all of these things. Demo. So again today I'm going to create the storage account. That is basically a blob storage I will use, but you can use for data like storage gen 1, gen 2, whatever you want to use you can use. Okay, next, upload files into storage account. Okay, what I wanted to do, I want to upload files into the storage account. Let's say in the storage account I have created input folder and output folder. Inside input folder I will upload one by one file. Like let's say I have uploaded some 4 files. Out of these 4 files, what is the file which is uploaded latest? Okay, what is the latest file which is uploaded into that particular folder? I need to identify. Okay, that is my intention. Now, so to do this, we are going to use the Edu Data Factory. Then we need to create the linked service for blob storage. Okay, using integration runtime, you know this. And I also will use the keyword. Okay, next, create multiple data sets. I will create multiple data sets. Next, create pipeline, debug pipeline, run pipeline, and the monitor pipeline. Okay, so we know the debug and run. What is the difference between debug and run? So in interview people may ask. So debug is basically without publish you can run the pipeline. That is one. Second point is you can create a breakpoint and you can execute partial execution of pipeline. You can able to achieve by using debug. But if you go with run, complete pipeline you need to execute. And second thing is once you publish, okay, once you publish, then only you can able to run the pipeline. Okay, these are the main 2 differences that you can explain to the interview. Next, scenarios. We will see how to copy latest file which is arrived into the blob storage. That particular file I will pick from the input folder in blob storage and I will load it into the output folder in the blob storage. Okay, it's basically blob to blob incremental copy. Okay, in this particular lab I am going to use lookup activity, for each activity, set variable activity, copy activity, append variable activity. Okay, so can you tell me if you want to, let's say you remember how you can identify the latest file which is arrived, or let's say I can say today date is December 11th, right? So what I am going to ask you is I will ask you to tell me what all files arrived into the blob storage from December 5th. So what is the logic we have? What is the logic we have, friends?
Using last modified date, you can identify it.
Okay, yes. So by using last modified date, we can able to identify, okay, that particular last modified date. I'm not sure how many of you remember. In a copy activity, you will have last modified start date and end date, right? We have passed start date and end date. So when you pass that last modified start date is December 5th or whatever time you are mentioning, after that whatever files arrived, all those files it will pick and it will load it into your destination. That's what we are going to do. Okay, so fine, these are the like activities I'm going to use. Basically I'm going to copy file from blob to blob. Okay, now okay, now append variable activity. So this is the new activity today we are going to see, because we have seen all other activities multiple cases, but this append variable activity also will be covered in this particular session. Append variable activity, basically what it means is, so you will create a variable, right? So we have used set variable. Whenever you are using set variable, even yesterday also we have used set variable, right? Whenever we are using set variable, you are going to create a variable, pipeline variables. Okay, from the pipeline canvas you are going to create the variable. When you are creating the variable, those variable of type, yesterday we have used string. Okay, basically variables will support three data types, right? One is string, second one is boolean, third one is array. Append variable means you are going to add the new values to the existing array. Okay, 1 second time. Yeah, sorry. So now just imagine you have an array. How many of you know what is array? Okay, if you don't know, you see, let me just tell you. See, append variable, basically what it will do, use the append variable activity to add a value to an existing array variable defined in a data factory pipeline. So in a data factory pipeline, we are going to create the variable. To that variable, you are going to add the new values. You are going to keep on adding the new values. So how it can, example, I have a 1, 2. If I want to add 3, what it will do, it will simply add 1, 2, 3. So now I have 1, 2, 3 in my array. I want to add 4. So when you add 4, it will become 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, understood? That's how append variable will work. And the variable must be of type array. This is what I want to explain. The variable must be of type array. If you have a string, it can hold only one value, one single string value. But see, array means, let's say here, by mistake, 1 second, this is a single code. See here, 1, 2, I want to add 3 to this particular array. So when you add it, it will become 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. It will become 1, 2, 3. Understood? Now if you want to add 4, it will become 1, 2, 3, 4. Understood? It's say when you are storing multiple values, this is of type array. It's not a string or int, it's a array. Okay, it will have a multiple values. Remember, in this, if you want to take value of 3, you need to use a function called last of this array. Can you give me the last value of this array? Then you need to say last. For that last function, you need to pass this. It will give you 3. I want to get the first value, then you have to say first of this array. First of this array, then it will give 1. This is clear, because these are the new things that we will use in this particular session. Please let me know how many of you clear on this. This is the array. In this array, if I use last of array, it will give 3. Okay, if I say last of 1, first of array, it will give you 1. Understood, friends? How many of you understood this? Can you tell me quickly?
Clear, Malaya.
Clear, sir.
Vinod, clear?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Clear, sir.
Rest of the people, please respond, friends.
Clear, Malaya.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Manohar, clear? Okay, fine. You see, first of 1 comma 2 comma 3, what you are getting? You are getting 1. When I say last of this area 1 comma 2 comma 3, what it is giving? It is giving 3. You understood? This is how you will get 3. If it is the first, you will get 1. Okay. So this is how this first and last will work. But basically what happens is I am going to add. So let's say you have 4 files. Okay. So 4 files. First, you don't have any clue. You will get a folder, from which folder you need to pick the latest file which is arrived into that particular folder. Okay, I have input folder. Into that input folder, what is the file which is arrived? Okay, recently, that particular file I need to pick. So how you can do that is, so first you remember we have a something called get metadata activity. In get metadata activity, please tell me whoever remember, in get metadata activity, by using get metadata activity, if I want to bring all the files which I have in a folder, what is the field list I need to use?
Exist.
Child
Exist
item.
is going to check whether file is available or not. Child item. You remember? We have used
Okay. Yeah.
child item. We need to use something called child items. Then what it is going to give? It is going to give you all the files which are available in a folder. Now, when you have a multiple files, now I need to iterate through all these files. Can you tell me if you want to iterate between multiple items, which activity we will use?
For each.
Very good. So get metadata activity, I will pass it to the for each. Okay. Next, I am not moving the slides. Don't worry. Okay. I'm just explaining. I need to give you some idea. Then I will go. Okay. Now, what you are trying to understand here is you are trying to identify each file when it has arrived. How you will get to know? We have a inside for each. I'm going to use one more get metadata activity to check what I will do inside get metadata activity. You have a inside for each, you have one more get metadata activity. In this get metadata activity field list, I will open something called last modified date. Which last modified date you want, you pass one by one file to the data set. Okay, your get metadata will identify when this particular file arrived. Like that, it is going to get the last modified date for each file. Okay, when it is getting the last modified date for each file one by one, I will add one by one date to this particular array. You understood how I am going to use this array? I am going to use this array to add all the last modified dates for all files. So when I have all these dates, okay, so remember your dates will be there in a order. Whatever you see last date, that will be the latest one. So I need to pick the latest date. I will take this date. With the help of this date, I can identify which file came recently. That particular file, I can able to pick it from the copy activity and load it into the target. Okay, that's what we are going to do. Don't worry, whoever is not able to understand, whoever is practicing daily, they can able to understand. Whoever don't have time, they are not practicing, that's okay. You also will be able to understand if I just explain in detail further. Okay, don't worry. Now let me move. So I want to copy data from blob to blob. So see example, I have a blob storage. In this I have input container. In this input container, let's say emp.csv, cust.csv. There are two files, but I want to understand which file arrived first. Okay, so and then I need to load it. So basically which file arrived recently, all those things, if you want to identify, you need to use some other activities. But basically, let's say you have identified and you want to copy, let's say emp.csv or cust.csv, one file you want to copy. So how you will do? First you need to create a, this particular file I want to load it into the blob storage output content. Okay, now first you need to create a linked service for your input container, and you need to create the data set which will reference to this particular. So linked service basically for the storage. Then you need to create input data set which will point to this particular files, and you need to use a copy activity to copy this particular files into the blob storage. For that, I'm going to create a output data set. If you want to put this particular file in this output container, you need to have a permission. For that, you need to create the again linked service to your output. Okay, output means same storage, right? So now once I execute this particular pipeline, I will get emp.csv because this is the latest one. Okay, so I will just move this particular file into the output container. Who is going to do all these things? Azure integration runtime, like Azure Data Factory is going to manage all of these things. You understood? We need to have a. Can you tell me here how many linked services I need? How many data sets I need? Same storage.
One linked service, sir.
One linked
How many
service.
data sets we need?
Two, sir.
Okay, two data sets. Okay, remember one linked service, two data sets. I'm going to use linked service basically to connect to the blob storage. Input data set will point to the input folder, output data set will point to the output container. Let's say now overview diagram you see. Create a data set to reference to input folder. So I have a get metadata activity which will reference to the input folder. Now input folder side I have a two files, right? EMP and customer. So now I will open a oh shit. One again mistake. 1 second. I will just use here key is what I need to use key I need to use child items. Okay, key I need to use child items. See, I am just in get metadata key I am using child items. Okay, when you ask child item, it is going to give you emp.csv and cust.csv. Okay, these two files I want to pass it for each. How will pass at the rate activity of get metadata dot output dot child items. When you ask child items, it is going to give you those two items. Okay, cust.csv emp.csv. Now I will create a again I will use a get metadata activity too. In this, see, create a data set to reference to files in input folder. So first I will pass emp.csv. So my get metadata to data set will reference to the emp.csv. And here what when this particular emp.csv came, so I'll just to take the last modified data. Okay, so next what happens in next iteration you will pass the cust.csv. So last modified date, meaning again you will see cust.csv when it has came. So one by one last modified date you will get that modified date I want to append to the variable. Okay, at the rate activity of get metadata to that output dot last modified. So I am trying to read the output of this get metadata activity. Okay, when you read output of this get metadata activity, that output I am going to append to the variable. Append variable will support only array type, meaning first emp.csv last modified date will be saved in this variable. Next cust.csv variable last modified date will be appended to same variable as a array. Now I have a append variable which is going to have a complete information, all the files last modified date. Okay, so I will use outside out of this for each I will use set variable. This set variable is going to pick the last date which we have in this append variable. How it will do something like this, last of variable of pvlmd. So I just use something like this. Okay, pv pipeline variable last modified date lmd, pipeline variable last modified date lmd, pvlmd. Okay, so from this append variable I am just reading one value, you know, right? In this array if you want to pick last value then you need to use last function, and this set variable will get the latest date. That particular latest date I will pass it to the copy activity last modified date. How you will pass this activity, right, at the rate variable of final date. So whatever date you got here, that is the final date. So I will use a one more final variable. This final variable I will, whatever date I have, that date I will pass to the copy activity. So copy activity will identify okay which file has came after this particular final date time. Okay, how many of you clear, friends, on this? Okay, how many of you clear on this?
Set variable, like in the set variable, we are taking the last last value from this particular variable, which are okay, output of this for each activity, and then what we are doing, Malay?
Basically a set variable you no need to use, but just to give full clarity I am just explaining the set variable. Okay, so set variable what it is going to do, it is going to pick, let's say you have 1 2 3, it is going to pick the value 3. Okay, when it picked 3, that 3 I will pass to the copy activity last modified date. So when you pass last modified date, let's say you have passed last modified date is 2020 December 11. Then what happens? Copy activity will pick all the files which has arrived after that particular date. After that particular date, whatever file came recently, that file will be picked.
Okay,
You
okay.
understood? Now you have received one file or something, like let's say last file is came at today. Okay, then today at 2020 December 11 7:35 you have received latest file. When you run the pipeline will identify last modified date is 2020 December 11 7:35. That is the date it will give you. By using all this logic we are achieving that. So when you get 2020 December 11 7:35, that particular date you will pass it to the copy activity last modified date. So then what it will identify? So it will try to understand, okay, what files came from the 2020 December 11 7:35 onwards. Even the file which is arrived at 7:35, it will pick. So at 7:35, which file came? Latest file. That is the latest file. That's how you are going to pick. Okay, don't worry if you're not able to understand. So I will show you with the lab in detail, so you'll be able to understand. Clear, Pawan?
Yes, Mal, I understood. I understood that concept now. Then tomorrow, again tomorrow, this today's date value will be appended, and tomorrow next new date will be coming as a last. That's it, right? Yeah.
Correct, correct. Okay, fine. Here estimations, you know how many linked service we need. For each storage, one linked service is required in EDF V2, but today we are going to use a single storage. That's why what happens is we need only one linked service. How many data sets we need depends on reference points. We are going to create the data sets. How many activities? One copy activity for sure we need to use to copy file from blob to blob. And other activities as I explained, we are going to use how many pipelines, one pipeline, what type of fire we need to use to copy data from blob to blob, Azure integration runtime. Can I use self-hosted integration runtime? Yes, we can use that. Prerequisite, we need to understand storage account, data factory, key vault. I am going to use the key vault again. Integration runtime and types, linked service, data set, activity, and pipeline. So all these things we are aware of. Next, required resources. I will go and create storage account, key vault, and Azure data factory V2. Okay, we need only these three resources. Okay, these are the slides I have. Let me just go into the portal. I am in the portal. Let's go and create the storage account. Okay, just go to storage accounts. Click add to create the storage account. Create, right? Let's create a resource group here. Cloud and BA master. Click OK. Storage account. Cloud Funday. Blob store V2. Okay, just click review plus create because it's not a data like storage Gen2 to enable the hierarchical namespace, right? So just create. Next, come here and let's go to portal.azure.com. Okay. So here let's create a keyword. Click on keywords. Click add to create the keywords. Choose the resource group. Keyword name. So you can say cloud funded AKV. Today date I will give 12/11. Click review plus create. Click. Let's create our final service, that is Azure Data Factory. Click on Data Factories. Click add. Resource group is this. and the name of the data factory is Cloud Pandit ADF BA ADF V2 1211. Git configuration, I will configure it later. Click review plus create. Running final validation, we can create it. Come to storage account, go to resource. Let's go, yeah, first let's take the access keys. Blob storage will, it will take the connection string, so take the connection string. Come to cloud, yeah, Azure keyword, it should be available now. So it is, let's wait for some time. Yeah, so Azure keyword is ready, go to resource. So click on secrets, say blob connection string, right? So I will say blob connection string. Let me just paste that, create it, you know. Now I need to grant permission to my Azure Data Factory to access these secrets. Click on access policies. Okay, let's click add access policy. Let me give full permission to Data Factory. Click select. So what is the Data Factory name? My Data Factory name is Cloud Pandey BA ADF V2 1211. This is the one selected. Click select. Then click add. Save it. Don't forget. So after created the Azure keyword, if you are trying to add the ADF, you need to add and you need to save it. Okay, that is mandatory. Now you see it is available. Refresh it and see it is available. Okay, fine. Now, so storage keys we have stored in the Azure keyword, everything is fine. Let's go to the storage account. Come here, click on containers. Let's create an input container. So we know how to create containers from the Azure Data Factory as well, right? So input container, it's output container. Go inside input container. So let's upload the files. Cloud Pandit data set. So let's say cust1. I'm just uploading cust1 now. Okay. So let it be. Okay. Later, after some time, I will upload one more file. After some time, I will upload one more file. Something like that. Okay. Now everything is ready. I have uploaded one file in my input container, and when I'm running pipeline, I will upload one more file, and then we will try to run our pipeline. Our pipeline should pick only the file which I have uploaded recently, right? It should not pick the file which I have uploaded now. Now we have two containers. Fine. Come to Data Factory. Go to resource. Okay. Click on author and monitor.
Malaya, it is similar to incremental copying data.
Yeah, but there we remember last processed value, we kept it in metadata table and all those things, right?
Yes.
But now we don't have any like last processed value and all those things. So
Yeah.
I'm not storing anything. I'm just everything I'm getting dynamically from the activities.
Yes. Understood.
Click on Manage tab. Click on
So
New.
for the same requirement, we can achieve either that way or this way.
No, basically we will go with last modified date only. We will remember, we will keep it in a metadata. But when you let's imagine we have some log files which are generating daily. Okay, what you wanted to do, you want to maybe pick, you want to so once the day is completed, that particular file you want to move it into some archive folder or something, you need to identify the recent file which is generated, something like that. You need to use this particular pipeline. Okay, in that case you don't have any clue, right? So you cannot, so you can store still for that particular thing, people may not store, right? So in that case we need to go with this. We need to derive the equation to get the last processed value. Okay, clear?
Yeah,
Clear, Paul? Yeah. So click on blob storage, click continue. This is the last process, LS. So same, even in interview also people are asking, okay, Azure blob storage, auto resolve integration time, account key. So I don't want to take the connection string directly. I don't want to enter. I need to read it from the Azure keyword. Select, create a linked service, click new. This is basically LS for LPV. Select subscription, Azure keyword name, click test connection. Azure keyword connection is successful created. So that whatever linked service I created that I'm using, and the secret name is, if you remember, it's a blob connection string, right? Let's test the connection. Connection successful, you can create. Okay, yeah. Come to author tab. Do one thing, come here. Let's publish all these linked services. Okay, I'm just publishing the linked services. Come to author tab. Let's click here, click new pipeline. Okay, so fine. Now here we need to sell this. Oh, sorry. This is basically pipeline, right? PLI underscore data. Okay. So recent file up, recent updated file in blob. We are going to pick it by using this pipeline. So first activity should be our get metadata. Yeah, before I move to all of these, we need to create a data, two variables. Okay, basically you can have a single variable, but to easy understanding, I'm creating the two variables. Okay, so later I will show you. So first let's go with two variables. One is append variable, that is nothing but a array values. Okay, array values, it should be of type array. See, variables support only three data types, right? We have seen. See, it supports only string, bool, and the array. So this should be array. Next value is final date. Final date should be string. Final date should be string. Okay, these are the two variables I'm using. Now let's use get metadata activity. Get metadata data set. So let's click new data set. So select Azure Blob Storage, click continue. So what type of file? CSV. So this is our DS for get metadata one. Okay, this is a get metadata one. Use this linked service. Okay, this data set for Azure Blob Storage. Okay, data set for Azure Blob Storage, get metadata one, and this is the linked service I am using. Just browse it. So in this folder, I need to, from this folder, I need to pick all the all the files which I have in this particular folder. So check first as adder and click OK. Now what I want to do, go to storage again, go inside this input container. Let's upload one more file. Okay, now come to Azure Data Factory. Now let's run this. Okay, let's click debug. What it is saying? Yeah, so field list we need to give, right? So what is the field list? What we want? So we discussed about all these things. child items. It is going to give you all the files which I have in the folder, because if you open this data set, you see I'm just selecting the folder from which folder I need to see all the files. You understood? Now I'm just clicking debug. So we'll see what it is going to give. Click on this. See, files are custard1.csv, custard2.csv. We have these two. Okay, just remember these are the items. Okay, these are the items we have. This I want to pass it to the for each. See how I am going to pass at the rate get metadata activity dot output dot child items. Child items, you remember child items. Okay, so now use your get metadata for each. Okay, so click on settings. Let's go with sequential. By default is parallel. Okay, add dynamic content. Click on this get metadata output. Get metadata one dot output dot child items. Okay, click finish. Now go inside this for each. What I need to use again? So this particular for each is going to get two things: file name and a file type. Okay, now you see what I'm going to. I will use one more get metadata. Data set. Use this particular. Don't use this. Let's create a new data set. Blob storage. Click continue. This is a CSV. Click continue. This is a DS for Azure Blob storage. Get metadata to linker services is first was header, browse it. So again same folder, but this time I need to pass the file names one by one. Okay, how you will pass the file names one by one here? Can you tell me? Can somebody tell me steps? What I need to do now? Somebody tell me please. So I need to pass file names dynamically to this data set. If you open this data set and see, I just have a folder, but I need to pass the file names. How to pass the file name?
For each will generate the item ID, right? Item.
Yes, what is the step? I need to open this data set, create a parameter. You should not forget these things, okay? So source file name. So each source file name, okay, you need to pass one by one source file name here. Okay, but how you will assign source file name to the dataset parameter? Go to pipeline. So it is waiting here in get metadata. How you will pass this one? For each item dot, in that item, you see in this item, if I want to get cust1.cs, what I need to pass? Name.
Item dot name.
Item dot name. Finish. Now by using this get metadata, can you tell me what this data set is doing? This data set is pointing to a file. It's not pointing to a folder. Our get metadata one is pointing to a input folder. A entire folder it is going to read by using child items. But get metadata two, we are passing file by file, one by one file. So what I want to understand from this each file is when this particular file arrived, how you will come to know last modified date you need to get. For each file last modified date you need to get. Once you get this last modified date for each file, that particular last modified date, okay, let's run as of now. Okay, let's click debug. How many times get metadata 2 will run? How many times get metadata 2 will run?
2 times.
Very good. So why you are taking this much time, friends? Quickly you need to answer. Okay. So get metadata 2 will run two times. You can see that. So second time is running. You check the output. So this is the last modified data for one file. So which file it is? It is a file cust1.csv. So this is the last modified date. Last modified. Okay. So for this file also you can see this is basically 11/0 to 22. This is the latest date. You see 0 to 22. This is 0 to 50. So out of which one is the latest one? 0 to 22 is the latest one, right? So all these dates I will append to the my append variable by using append variable activity. Append variable activity. What we will do? We will assign all these dates. Okay, so see, I have a append variable array values, right? These array values, for this array I need to add one by one value, add dynamic content. So you are going to get the output from the get metadata to output dot last modified you need to use. Okay, now what happens? All the data will be appended to the append variable. Now you run once again, click debug. See, first get metadata executed, append variable is running. So to that append variable, this value is appended. Okay, next, if you go to append variable again, so after this it will run again. Refresh this, you will see one more time append variable. Yeah, it ran again. So this particular data also appended. Okay, 222. Now I want to see all the values of my append variable. So after this, for each, you can use set variable. Set variable. Okay. Here, so if you want to see all the values, you need to see all the values, you need to do something like this. One second. Come to variables. So see, some temp variable I will use temp. Okay. Temp is of type array. I will tell you why I am using, just to show you all the values which I have. I need to use array type. Okay, so temp. To this array temp, I will assign this particular array values. All the array values which we set, all those will be available in this set variable activity. Just to show you, I'm using this activity. Okay, remember again and again I'm telling. See, set variable is executed. Now you see set variable output. So set variable got these two. How? Because set variable is getting the values from the array values. So these are the two dates we have. In these 2 dates, if I want to get 222, what you need to do? We talked about that. If it is a single value, if you want to get not array type, you need to get a final date. It's a simple string. You see, you need to focus on these variables, how I have defined. This temp is a array to see all the values. If you want to get a single value from this array, you need to create a variable called string. Okay, so that final date I will use, and this is the complete array. In this array, I want to get the last value, so I need to use last of this particular array, then execute once again. check what files it has given, cust1.csv, cust2.csv for each received 2 items. Okay, so first item is your cust1.csv, it is passed. Get metadata will give you the last modified date. This is the last modified date. This last modified date will be appended to append variable. So this is added to the append variable. Then get metadata to. So this get metadata, like again, it picks the cust2.csv and it will give the last modified date. Finally, all these dates we have appended to the set variable. So in set variable, see this time. So you got only 0 to 22 because it's a single value. You are getting only single value. Why you are getting only single value? Because from that array, you are just saying last one value, that is 222. Okay, 222. Now go to your input here, click upload, click here. It's a cust3 I will upload. So you know, right, these dates will be there in a UTC format. Now you see what is current UTC now. 233. So we uploaded here, it will show 83, but UTC time is 233. This 233 we should get when I debug pipeline again, because that is the file we have uploaded. At a 233 we have uploaded our latest file. It will give in a UTC time. Okay, don't worry. But here it will show it in a local time, IST. So 83 it is showing, right? Now come here. Don't confuse between the time zones. In activities, it will show in a UTC. Here, when you upload the files, it will give in a IST. Okay, fine. See, set variable check 233. You understood 233. So this is the latest date. So you understood I'm getting this last date. I no need to use this set variable basically. Okay, but for easy understanding, I'm using set variable. Bring the copy data activity. Okay, come to copy. Source side, what is our source? Blob storage. In this, I have CSV files. So this is our source. Yes, Azure Blob storage is source. Use same linked service. First as adder and browse it and say this is the input folder. And in this folder, do you want to pick all the files? Yes, everything I want to pick. So how you will filter out? You have multiple files in this input folder. How you will filter out? Let me tell you. So first you select wildcard file path. I want all the files, and you need to pass start time here. Start time is add dynamic content. Here you need to say from the set variable final date you can pass. Final date is nothing but the latest date you will have in set variable. Otherwise, instead of using set variable, directly you can use last of array values. That particular entire dynamic query you need to use. Okay, first let's go with this. Then I will upload one more file without the set variable. I will execute and show you. Okay, this is what you need to do. You know start time, so you just put start time. Don't put end time. Come to sync. Let's click new. It's a blob storage again. Click continue. CSV. Click continue. Here's the DS. Azure blob storage. It's a sync. Linked service this. First as header. Browse it. I need to load all these files into output. Click OK. Okay. Now I will upload a fourth file as well. I will upload the fourth file. We'll see whether it is going to take the third file or fourth file. See, fourth file I will just let's click debug. Once debug is successful, then I will just I will load the data again. I will just publish and run the pipeline. get metadata for each, get metadata to. See, copy activity is running, but based on what? See, modified date starts from 237. From 237, whatever files came, only that particular file it will pick and it will load it into our target. Let's see. Click on this, see how many files it copied. It picked only one file read. Okay. So we know the file which we have uploaded recently is cust4. We'll see cust output folder whether latest file went or not. Yes, cust4.csv only there in our output folder. Okay, let's delete this particular folder. Come back, go inside input. Okay, let's upload a fifth file. Click upload. Now come here, just to do publish all. Click publish. Now, if you want to see for each also normal activity, then right click on this. You can see something called hide nested activities. See, for each also you will see like a normal activity. Nobody knows there is some more activities inside. Okay, those all options we have. Those are just if you want to see, you can see. Okay, fine. Now everything is succeeded. Oh no, this is just to be published. Now let's click add trigger. Trigger now. I'm manually triggering. Later I will schedule it. Click OK. Let's come to monitor tab to see this particular execution. Whether it is going to pick a cust5.csv or not, we will see. So get metadata one is finished. You can see execution here also. This is finished. This is running. This mark means this is running. Okay. And table is running. Still for each is executing. Why for each is taking this much time? Because we are executing sequentially, not a parallel. We can do the batch count. If we provide, it will execute those many batches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should pick 5 times. It should run. See, this is finished. This is finished. The copy activity is running. Copy activity is still running. So this is also green. So this is also succeeded. Come to block storage. Go back to the output folder and see whether cust5.csv came or not. Yes, cust5.csv came. Okay. So we are able to pick the latest file, or you can say recent file, which is updated in our input container. Okay, clear. Now you see, without using set variable activity, you can do that. Okay, just for easy understanding, step by step I have explained, but you just delete this directly also. Okay, and one more thing, let me just optimize this, remove all these unwanted, like all these things you don't require actually. Okay, you have array values, right? Array variable we have. That array variable value directly you can pass it here. Click on this, remove this, just to say first last is the function that you need. Last, click on last. In this last function you need to pass is you need to pass the array values. That's all. So in this array values, you want to take the last. Okay, click finish. Then publish all. Click publish. Come to your blob storage. Go inside blob storage. Go inside input container. Let's upload one more file. This is cust6. Click here. Click upload. The cust6 also I uploaded. Now come here. Come here. So it will take more time for us if we go one by one, right? Let me just change the settings to batch count. Next one is, let me also create the schedule trigger, new slash edit trigger. Choose, click new. This is what inside schedule trigger. The term, oh sorry, schedule trigger only. What time? Now the time is 8:13. So let's schedule our pipeline at 8:15. Okay. This is the today date only. 8:15 a.m. Click OK. Then it's then and every, yeah, you can say every 1 hour till what date? End date is, let's say today itself till maybe 10 o'clock. I want to run. Let's check the time now. We have a lot of time. Click OK, no problem. Click OK, then click publisher. It will publish. Don't worry, we have a lot of time still. We have 30 seconds. Okay, it will finish. 8:15 our pipeline will start executing. Okay, we'll see whether, yeah, meanwhile what else we need to do? We need to delete that particular file which we have in this. Yeah, I already deleted. Fine. Come to data factory. It is publishing is completed. Now you see still we have 2 seconds. Come to monitor tab. Okay, let's refresh this to see how the pipeline picked or not. Yes, our pipeline is started. Okay, who has started? See, basically previously we ran manually. This is a manual trigger. This is a scheduled trigger, and this pipeline will finish quickly because it's a this says we are running parallelly, not a sequential, right? See, all get metadata activity finished, then all append variables finished. Now directly it is going to start our copy activity. The copy activity started. You see, copy data activity is also finished. Now come to your storage, go to output container. What is this? 3, 4, 5, 6, all files came. What happened, friends? Let's delete this. Come back. This is a cust6.csv. Come here. So why we got all those files? Yeah. Go to monitor tab once again. I want to understand why this is failed. Go inside this. Okay. I think the issue came because you are running a like batch count. Batch count will not like batch run. It will fail in batch run. Okay, sorry. You need to be in a sequential only. Click publish again. Let's create our trigger also. Let's create new trigger. Just edit this trigger. Now the time is 8:17. Right, so I will just schedule our pipeline at 8:18. See, this should be a sequential only, okay? Because if you go with the parallel, so dates will interchange. Okay, that is the problem. Publishing is completed. At 8:18 our pipeline will pick. Still we have a 14 seconds. But come here, go to output, check. You deleted everything. Yes, I deleted everything. I should get only the latest file. Okay, that we will check. Come to monitor tab. Click refresh. See, this is the file. Like this is the pipeline which is running now. Okay, you know it is going to take some time. Let's run it. Okay, this is still running. Let it run. Refresh this. See, everything is finished. Now come here, refresh this. So I got the latest one. Okay, you need to go with the sequential. It's okay. Clear. So this is how you need to understand. This is how you need to do that. So this is mandatory. Now you need to go with sequential, because if you go with parallel, what happens? Some of the jobs may finish quickly. Those dates will be updated earlier, and the latest file which is arrived, that particular date will come in the middle. So there will be issue if you go with batch parallel, right? So you need to go with sequential in this case. Okay, clear. Okay, so for string also same process. So for string also same process means, what is string here? See, you can achieve only here arrays, right? So last of arrays. So you have a multiple files. When you have multiple files, you'll have multiple dates. So you'll have a array only. There is no chance of having a string. Okay, then that's all for today, friends. Thank you. Thank you.